Dear learners, today we are going to learn a very important topic of grammar, which is adjectives. And this is important in morphology because that adjective will always agree with modify the nouns that it comes with. So it is important to understand. It is easy because we have studied this concept in our school days when we are going to school in early age. So we are familiar with what is adjective, what is noun, what is pronoun, what is verb, but exactly its real agreement, how it works, how it modifies the noun, we need to know to make our understanding of the language more real, more correct. So when I say a good boy or a beautiful girl, what word tells us something about the noun? So good boy or beautiful girl, if you look at this, two word good and beautiful. These words are adjectives because they qualify or modify a noun or pronoun by describing a property, quality, or characteristics. So what kind of boy is? So it is boy is good. So that good referring to the boy quality. So it is adjective. In the same way, what kind of girl is this? Beautiful, referring to its characteristic quality. So it is adjective. So now in Urdu Hindi, adjectives are quite interesting because they agree with the noun they describe in gender, number, and sometimes in case, but mostly in gender and number we have to focus. Even if you understand the agreement of adjectives with number and gender or when they modify them, so it would be easier for us to go through. In English, adjectives do not change their form. We say good boy or good girl, same adjectives. So good is used for boy, good is used for girl. But in Urdu Hindi, adjectives can change depending on the nouns, gender, and number. So now, if we look at this example, acha ladka. So acha is good, but for ladka, achhi ladki. So here, acha becomes achhi for ladki. So here, what changed between these two examples? The adjectives ending change from a to e. For masculine, it's a. For feminine, it is e. Now, what I will do here, I'm going to take you to give you a chart where you can completely understand why I am talking about this adjective in a proper way. When we say adjective, we are talking about two kinds of adjectives. So all the entire things, it depends upon this chart. If you understand this clearly, you will find this very interesting. So we call it marked adjective or unmarked adjectives. So marked adjective, as you remember when I was talking about the noun, I have given the similar chart to you to understand this markedness. So marked adjective, so marked by what? So this is marked with a, or in Urdu we can say like this a. So for example, if you see the word adjective, if I write this meetha, so this is a. In Urdu, it is like meetha. So this is a meetha. So if you look at this, the another one is acha, or in Urdu, acha. Or you can see if it is sasta, so all having a I ending, sasta. So if you look at this, so this is all having a at the end of this adjective. So it is called marked adjective, marked by a. A is used to modify a masculine singular. Then a is used to modify masculine plural, and e is used to modify both feminine singular and feminine plural. This is the whole idea about how it is going to agree in this. So I will come to this in a moment, but if you look at this example, I am going to give you some of this example for unmarked adjectives. So unmarked adjectives are like when it is ends on adjectives ends on a consonant or vowel or other than a. Other than a means because a already there for marked. So anything other than a that ends on a consonant or vowel, that becomes unmarked adjective. Now we need to understand why we need this in our understanding, how we are going to identify unmarked. But for this we have to study, we have to look for the words which are marked as adjective. So if you look at, I am writing here, the first one is bahut. In Urdu we write bahut like this. So there is no a ending, it's end on as a consonant on. If you look at this, sundar, in Urdu we call it khub surat. Then another one is dilchasp. In Urdu we write like this, dilchasp. So if you look at this, they are marked with a, mostly a marker are considered a marked adjective, while any other than a ending on consonant or vowel comes under this unmarked adjective. However, in unmarked adjective, marked adjective always agree in their adjective agree with the noun they modify. So for example, if you see as अच्छा संतरा, say good orange, or I can write here अच्छा संतरा. For masculine plural, so this is for masculine singular, अच्छे संतरे, good oranges. So this santre here is masculine plural. Then say अच्छी बेटी, good daughter. So feminine singular and अच्छी बेटियां, good daughters. So if you look at this, you can see the adjective modify the noun. If a marked adjective modify the marked noun, if it is singular masculine, so it acha. If it is plural masculine, it is अच्छे. If it is feminine singular, then अच्छी. If it is feminine plural, then remain अच्छी. So if you look at this chart, E, it says it modify, it remains same for feminine singular and feminine plural. So this is how we write in Urdu, अच्छे, संतरे, अच्छी, बेटी, अच्छी, बेटियां. So this is exact chart that we are going to cover throughout this lecture that I am going to talk about. So only one more thing I would like you to show. I am going to give you the unmarked combination here. So I am going to write separately, making it again for unmarked. Adjective, marked adjective, and unmarked adjective. So if I say unmarked, for example, if I write the adjective Sundar, so how it is going to agree? So unmarked does not change in agreement. Like अच्छा becomes अच्छे, or अच्छा becomes अच्छी in feminine. But Sundar, it is unmarked, remain unchanged in all its agreement. If I say Sundar Kamra, Sundar Kamre, सुंदर लड़की, सुंदर लड़कियां. So सुंदर कमरा, for masculine singular, Sundar remains Sundar. For masculine plural, Sundar remains Sundar. For feminine singular, Sundar remains Sundar. For feminine plural, Sundar remains Sundar. So unmarked adjective does not change in combinations. So for any unmarked, for example, if you look at for swadist, tasty, like so Sundar Kamra, Sundar Kamre, Sundar Larki, Sundar Larkiya. This is how we are going to understand the entire adjective. Now there are some exceptions that I am going to tell you why we need those exceptions there. Several adjectives can modify a single noun. For example, if we want to say तीन सुंदर लाल हिंदुस्तानी साड़ियां, so साड़ियां is being modified by तीन सुंदर लाल. So several adjectives can modify a single noun. So and also this mostly adjective precede the noun, but however sometimes it is interchangeable. Mostly in poetic writings it can be. However, few adjectives or ending on a do not change to agree in with the noun they modify. For example, there are some of these. If I write here, ज्यादा दूध, ज्यादा केले, ज्यादा चाय. So like ज्यादा दूध, ज्यादा केले, ज्यादा चाय. So this ज्यादा remains same in all the some. These are exceptions. There is another exceptions you can say we always use for बढ़िया, for good. बढ़िया, बढ़िया घर, बढ़िया is like for use for good or excellent. So बढ़िया घर, बढ़िया खाना, बढ़िया chai. So बढ़िया remains. So these are some exceptions that is used. There are some other way of we also make adjectives by adding in the place names by adding e. For example, if we say Hindustan, so we make adjective by adding e. This Hindustani, Japan, Japani. By adding this e at the end, we all also make adjectives with place names like Madras, Madrasi. So many things. Chin, Chini. So you can make it. So Banarsi kapra, Banarsi sari, something like that. We can always use those kind of examples here. So this is all about the adjectives. Now I am going to let you walk through the different sets of adjective, how it is used in general. The basic concept, if you understand this, you will be fine with the use of adjective. Now this was the chart that I have drawn separately. Now here you can see we have marked adjectives, unmarked adjectives. So here you can see this is marked with adjective, and here it is unmarked adjectives and on consonant and vowels. I have already given, so I'm not going to write it, but you can see in writing it's visible clearly. Meetha, acha, sasta, and then agree with the noun they modify. So acha santra, good orange, अच्छे संतरे, good oranges, and अच्छी बेटी, good daughter, अच्छी बेटियां, good daughters. So, but marked adjective agree with the noun they modify. However, unmarked adjective like बहुत, सुंदर, दिलचस्प, unmarked adjective remain unchanged and only are formed while modifying a singular or plural noun. If you look at this, सुंदर कमरा, सुंदर remains सुंदर, सुंदर कमरे remains same, सुंदर remains same with feminine, सुंदर लड़की, सुंदर लड़कियां. Same as स्वादिष्ट केला, delicious banana, और लजीज केले, स्वादिष्ट केले, स्वादिष्ट मिठाई, स्वादिष्ट मिठाइयां. So unmarked adjective remain unchanged irrespective of its use. So it always agree with modified. The marked adjective modify with nouns. Unmarked also agree with, but their form remain the same in all its agreement. Now, the main point for this to remember is Hindi Urdu adjectives can change according to gender, like ladka, ladki, number, singular or plural, case, direct or oblique case. Case means when it comes with post position, it remains with oblique case. Direct is when there is a direct relation of the subject and the verb. Oblique is when it is used with the post position. Some adjectives also have comparative and superlative forms. We will learn that later. Like in English we have good, better, best. So in Hindi also we are going to see how it forms in English. These special forms mostly come from Sanskrit and Perso-Arabic borrowing. So how these comparative and superlative degree in Hindi, Urdu, it generally basically belongs to or comes from Sanskrit and Perso-Arabic background. How it behave in sentences, they occur along with determiners and intensifiers. We know this agree with the noun, describe or modify the nouns. They may also act as noun in certain positions. So subject, object after a post position or complement of a verb. So this is important to understand. At many positions it works in agreement with adjective. Now, if you remember those charts, you can easily comprehend these descriptions. It said adjective ending with a like acha, kala, anything ends on a. So these adjectives change from form depending on gender and number. For masculine, singular ends in a. For plural, that is direct or oblique, ends in a. Feminine, singular and plural, e. So अच्छी लड़कियां. So this remains same. So अच्छा, for masculine plural it becomes अच्छे. For feminine singular and plural both, it remains अच्छी. So if you look at adjective at the end in consonant or vowel other than a. So if you remember that chart, still you can find this description easily comprehensible. You can understand or you can define very clearly. They never change form. Same for masculine, feminine, singular, plural, direct or oblique. So if you look at this adjective lal, this is unmarked, as I say, or indeclinable. They do not change their form. So lal stays lal in all conditions. Lal phool, red flower. Lal sari, red sari, feminine singular. Lal dabbe, red containers, masculine plural, dabba you remember. Lal kursiyan, red chairs, feminine plural. So lal remains same in all its use, in all combination with masculine singular, feminine singular, masculine plural and feminine plural. So lal remains lal with in all these conditions. If you look at other example, paltu another adjective stays unchanged. Paltu kutta, pet dog, very commonly used word. Paltu kutta, paltu kutte, paltu billi, paltu billiyan. So kutta for dog, kutte for dogs, billi for cat, billiyan for cats. But paltu remain paltu. So unmarked adjective does not change in all combination, remain unchanged, remain same. Then if you look at the inflection, it says adjectives in Urdu-Hindi are divided into two major categories based on whether they change form or not. So one is declinable, that what we generally in common term call marked adjectives that we have seen in the chart. They inflect, they change ending for gender and number in Hindi, Urdu and sometimes for case. If you say ladka becomes ladke and then ladki feminine for plural becomes ladkiyan. So they change, so they are called declinable. They are declined adjective acha, achhe, achhi. So they are declined towards gender and number of the noun. Then another one is indeclinable, which is we known as, for now we know as unmarked adjectives. So that is unmarked, not marked like I endings, which is, that's why we call it unmarked. So indeclinable, not declined towards anything. So it is called indeclinable as well. They do not change form. Same for masculine, feminine, singular and plural. As you have seen lal, lal sari, lal kitab, lal ladka, anything lal remain lal. So as paltu remain paltu. We have seen unmarked does not change, or indeclinable does not change. They do not indecline towards anything. The basic structure, if you look at this, this is a concept by now. We know declinable or marked change in acha, achhi, achhe, as in Urdu how it is written. In Hindi, acha, achhi, achhe, and it is referring to good, known as declinable. Declinable towards the noun they modify. So acha ladka, अच्छे लड़के, अच्छी लड़की और अच्छी लड़कियां. So it is called declinable. Declinable towards noun. Then indeclinable or unmarked, like खूबसूरत, खूबसूरत लड़का, खूबसूरत लड़की, खूबसूरत लड़के, खूबसूरत लड़कियां. They do not change, they remain unchanged. So अच्छा for all in all its agreement, it remains changed. So we have seen, I'm not going to write this because it is very simple to understand. You can see this chart very clearly. Now, if you look at this inflection, declinable adjectives or Marked adjectives usually end in a in masculine singular. Feminine singular changes to e, masculine plural to a. Indeclinable adjectives are often borrowed from Persian or Arabic and end in consonants. For example, mushkil, khubsurat, or zahin. So how it is written you can see. Then if you look at the agreement, adjective must agree with the noun they modify. So this is basic condition we always remember, and we should know this in all its context, all its use is must agree with the noun they modify. So if you look at Hindi, masculine singular ends in a, masculine plural ends in a, feminine singular and plural both ends in e. So this is basic agreement for the inflection. If you look at in Urdu, same pattern. In Hindi, Urdu both, when we say call, it's sometimes when it is borrowed only from Persian and Arabic especially, then we say Urdu, but in common use, we call Hindi Urdu. Possible case marking in the oblique form, for example, when the noun is in the oblique case with the postposition. So when it is used with postposition, the adjective changes to match the noun in gender and number. If you look at अच्छा आदमी है, he is a good man, अच्छी औरत है, she is a good woman, अच्छे लड़के हैं, they are good boys. Indeclinable adjectives. Some adjectives never change form. These are indeclinable or unmarked. They often come from Persian or Arabic origins and end in consonant. And the example, as we have seen earlier, those are khubsurat for beautiful, mushkil for difficult, dilchasp for interesting. So khubsurat, let me write to you in Hindi also. खूबसूरत, मुश्किल and दिलचस्प. So यह खूबसूरत है, she is beautiful. यह मुश्किल सवाल है. So खूबसूरत and मुश्किल remain unchanged. This is a difficult question. If now, having understood this concept, if somebody asks you, did the adjective change for masculine and feminine here in this context, in indeclinable context, then your answer should be no, they do not change. Khubsurat remain khubsurat in all its condition, muskil remain muskil in all its agreement, dilchasp remain dilchasp in all its the noun they modify. Now in Urdu Hindi, adjective generally precede the noun. So it's अच्छा आदमी, नई किताब, this is general condition for the adjective to appear before noun. However, sometimes, especially in poetic or emphatic speech, they can follow the noun. So in poetry, you will find several examples of this kind of agreement. So अच्छा आदमी become आदमी अच्छा है, or आदमी अच्छा independently in poet or in poem. So many poems you will see, and so many reverse agreement you will find in poetic use. But generally, adjective precedes the noun.